A single thread runs through the entirety of human spiritual tradition, from our prehistoric ancestors to the modern day. That tradition is animism, and it manifests in the West as the practice of Goetia. Hey folks, this is James, aka Threskiornis, and I know I've used the term Goetia a lot in my videos, and it's high time that I explain what that is and what it means to me. I've held off on making this video only because I plan a course on emergent Goetia in the future, but with festival season upon us, I know I won't have time to give that justice for several months. So the time is now to make this video, and I know that course will manifest one day, if not soon. So what is Goetia? Most people, when they know the word at all, think it refers to a book called the Ars Goetia, or Solomonic magic in general. But Goetia is far older than that, going all the way back to ancient Greece, and encompasses a large variety of spiritual practices. We're going to approach the history of this a little bit backwards and start with MacGregor Mathers and Aleister Crowley's publication of the Book of Goetia of Solomon the King in 1904. This was the first time that most English speakers had access to this material, and so that book kind of became synonymous with the practice of Goetia itself. However, it can be said that the Key of Solomon and its related books are only a subset of Goetia, more accurately described as the grimoire tradition. Books from the Middle Ages and the Renaissance that focused on magic involving spirits, and even the Solomonic tradition itself is only a subset of the grimoire tradition, which includes things like the Cyprianic grimoires, and books passed down by cunning men and women. At the heart of the Solomonic tradition, of which the Ars Goetia is a part, is conjuring spirits to serve the magus and perform miracles. And most people concentrate on a specific part of it, which involves the summoning of a specific list of 72 demons. But now let's go back and connect the dots. The ancient Greek word goes or goat is used to describe a group of professional mourners. The word goes literally means wailing, and these people were hired to cry and scream at funerals. In that way, they acted as psychopomps, shepherding the souls of the dead into the underworld. Due to their connection with the dead, the goers were often hired as necromancers, giving people the ability to communicate with the dead. Of course, necromancers benefit from strong alliances with all spirits of the underworld. So in a general sense, Goetia is the practice of communicating with chthonic spirits, spirits from the underworld. And since these practices generally have a dark or unclean reputation, the goets themselves were seen as people who were less than pure. The magic of the goets made its way into ancient texts, into writings that we now call the Greek magical papyri, or Papyri Graeca Magica, or PGM for short. It was this that evolved into the later grimoire tradition in the Middle Ages, and of course by this time Christianity had become the major spiritual force in Europe, and so this magic evolved to fit that paradigm. Going back to the Ars Goetia, we now have to ask ourselves, who are these demons that are in this book? Once again, etymology can help us here, as we examine these names and their origins. The one that sticks out the most is the demon Baal. Now, Baal is an ancient Canaanite word that means Lord, and it was an honorific that was given to many of their gods, and sometimes the word Baal was used in place of the word God. And since the ancient Israelites were enemies of the Canaanites, you can see the motivation that they would have to describing the Canaanite gods as demons. In other grimoires, you'll find Astaroth, who many scholars agree is based on the ancient goddess Astarte, who is known throughout the Middle East. In the Ars Goetia, even the legendary Phoenix makes the list as a demon. So you can see how many of these spirits were literally put through the process of demonization in order to be fit into the Christian cosmology. Maybe most of the demons in the Ars Goetia aren't inherently malefic at all. They're just spirits with strong associations with the underworld. And remember, it was only in later Judeo-Christian tradition that God was seen as just and perfect with only love for humanity as long as you worship him. In paganism, the gods always had a dark side. There was always an expected amount of danger whenever dealing with the gods. One can also see how this developed out of an animist worldview, because animism is all about developing relationships with the spirits. Goetia simply refines it down to a specific set of spirits. All the brass seals, magic circles, wands, incense, and other trappings of the grimoires may be evidence of an advancement of the art, but in the end, a shaman could do the same thing with a fire, a stick, and a handful of mushrooms, meaning one should not concern themselves too much with following a grimoire like a recipe, but to adapting it to your skills, location, and goals. Almost all of the grimoires instruct the magus to make some kind of statement of their allegiances. Just like anyone else, the spirits will judge you by who your friends are. In the medieval grimoires, this means calling upon Jehovah and his host of angels. I'm not one who looks to stamp out all vestiges of Christianity from my magic. Use what works. But be honest, if you really don't have a good relationship with the Christian God and could not expect him and his host of angels to be in your corner when things go wrong, by all means, use the names of spirits you do have a good relationship with. Here's your first tip for working in this compelling magical tradition. Get yourself some spirit allies first. Take a page from the original Goets and start working with spirits of the dead. Your own ancestors may be a good place to start. Spirits that were once human will be easier to communicate with. Spirits of the dead actually understand the human experience, and ancestors may find it in their own best interest to work with you because they want to ensure the continuation of their line. And these spirits can act as go-betweens when communicating with the more strange and alien spirits of the underworld. It doesn't hurt to have a patron god, someone that you can name drop to dissuade other spirits from taking advantage of you. My man Beaky, he fits the bill nicely for me, but you should definitely use a god that you actually have a relationship with, because that's what this practice is all about, building relationships with the spirits. At this point, I have to say that much of the information that I've given you here is based on the work of one Jake Stratton Kent, an amazing scholar and magician, and I can safely say that no other living magician in the modern era has done more for the advancement of Goetia and brought more of its associated text to light. It's common knowledge now that Jake has had a turn of ill health. Instead of asking you to donate to the show this time, I'm going to provide you links to Hadean Press and Scarlet Imprint, who are the major publishers of Jake's work. And I'm pretty sure buying some of his stuff now will be a great help. I'm also going to ask you to light a candle, say a prayer, ask the spirits for his good recovery. But I am going to ask you to like and subscribe. I'm also going to ask you to watch our videos all the way through This helps the YouTube algorithm and makes our videos more accessible to more people. And once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.